Welcome to the Deep Dive. Ready to explore something really cool? We're diving into generative AI today.
Sounds complicated.
I know AI can seem a bit intimidating, especially if you're just starting out. But trust me, it's way more approachable than you think. We're going to bring it down for you. No fancy jargon needed.
Love that.
Okay, so we have a ton of awesome YouTube videos you all shared about GenAI and those mysterious things called LLMs. Consider this your AI crash course. So ready to demystify generative AI?
Absolutely. Bring it on.
Awesome. So how is generative AI different from other AI stuff out there?
So unlike discriminative AI, which is all about sorting data, generative AI is all about creation.
Oh, creation. So like an AI artist, one of the videos even showed how GenAI can create those photorealistic images from text descriptions.
Right. And even compose music. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is. Okay, so how do computers, which think in numbers, understand language like we do? The videos kept mentioning embeddings. What are those all about?
Embeddings are like a secret code that translates words into a format computers can understand.
So instead of seeing a word as just a random string of letters, the computer actually gets its meaning, like happy being closer to joyful than sad. I kind of get it, but how does that actually work?
It's all about vectors. They capture the relationships between words.
So words with similar meanings have similar vectors.
Yeah.
Got it. It's not just about individual words. It's about understanding those connections, right? And speaking of connections, one of the videos talked about this mind-blowing thing called retrieval augmented generation, or AGG. Complicated name, but the concept is really cool.
Yeah, RAG combines the power of finding information with the ability to create new content.
Okay, so how does that work in real life? Give me an example.
Let's say you ask an AI assistant, what are the main ingredients in a classic margarita pizza?
Pizza, good example.
Using RAG, the AI would first search its knowledge base, probably looking at recipe websites or culinary articles. Then it would use that info to generate a response that's not only accurate, but also written in a natural way.
So it's like the AI is actually doing its research before giving an answer. That's cool. Makes it a lot more reliable, right?
Exactly. Grounding those responses in facts and evidence.
Now, one of the videos actually walked through building a simple question answering system using RAG. It starts with chunking. What's that all about?
Well, chunking is basically like taking a big document like a research paper and breaking it down into smaller pieces.
Like bite-sized pieces that are easier for the AI to digest.
Yeah, exactly.
So what happens after the AI has these bite-sized chunks?
Well, that's where embeddings come in. Each chunk gets transformed into a vector, capturing its meaning. And then these vectors are stored in a special database designed for searching. It's called a vector database.
Okay, so we've got all this info stored neatly away. But how does the AI actually answer a question using all that?
So when you ask your question, the system transforms it into an embedding, just like those info chunks. Then it compares your question embedding to all the others in the database to find the closest matches in meaning.
It's like finding the needle in a haystack. But instead of a needle, it's the most relevant information.
Exactly. And once it retrieves those relevant pieces, a generative model steps in to craft the final answer.
This is so cool. I can't believe this is how some AI systems work.
What's really exciting is that these basic principles are actually the foundation for a lot of the AI applications we see every day, like, chatbots and search engines.
Totally. So understanding this really gives us a new appreciation for how AI is shaping our world, huh?
Absolutely, it does.
We can't talk about generative AI without talking about the rock stars. Large language models, or LLMs, they power things like ChatGPT and Bard, generating everything from poems to code. What exactly are they, and what makes them so special?
Well, think of LLMs as super brains trained on tons of text data.
Like they've read every book imaginable.
Right. And now they can write in different styles, translate languages, even summarize complex info. The applications are just incredible.
I know. But how do we actually talk to these LLMs and get them to do what we want? The videos mentioned prompt engineering. What's that all about?
Prompt engineering is basically the art of talking to AI.
Okay, so it's not just about typing in a question. It's like giving the AI a blueprint.
Yeah, it's about giving it context, specific instructions, and even telling it what format you want the output in.
One of the videos even said prompt engineering is part art, part science.
Yeah.
You need to understand how the LM works, but also how to phrase things so it understands.
You got it. The better your prompt, the better the AI's response.
So it's like learning a new language. But in this case, the language is how to communicate effectively with AI.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground. From understanding generative AI and how it works to the basics of LLMs and prompt engineering. It's amazing how much we've learned already.
It is, but hold on, because our generative AI deep dive is just getting started.
There's so much more to explore.
We'll be back to explore those exciting tools and techniques that are really shaping generative AI, so stay tuned.
Can't wait.
Welcome back. Last time we laid the groundwork. Now let's dive into some tools that are making waves in the world of generative AI.
Awesome. I'm ready to see what these AI superstars can do. The videos mention tools like Anthropic's Claude and Google's Gemini. What makes those stand out?
They're both really great examples of how powerful and versatile large language models are becoming. Let's start with Claude. One thing that stood out is its ability for visual reasoning.
Visual reasoning. So it's not just about text anymore.
Right. Claude can actually understand what's going on in images. One of the videos even showed how it can work with blurry photos or even hand-drawn sketches.
Wow, that's amazing. So many possibilities with that. Like, could you ask Claude to describe a photo, even if it's not perfect?
Exactly. Think of it like an AI art critic who can tell you what's happening in a painting.
I can see how that would be super useful in so many fields. Like, imagine doctors using it for medical scans or engineers with blueprints.
Absolutely. It goes beyond just that, though. Claude also has this really interesting feature called artifacts.
Artifacts. Okay, that sounds intriguing. What are those all about?
Think of them as tools that Claude can use to actually interact with the digital world.
Wait, so it can do things now. It's not just stuck in the world of text and images.
Exactly. Like Claude can create presentations, write code, even control other applications.
Wow, that's next level stuff. But doesn't that raise some security and privacy concerns with all that power?
That's a great question. It's something that Anthropic takes very seriously. They've prioritized security from the start and even had external experts evaluate Claude's security features.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So Claude sounds pretty awesome, but what about Google's Gemini? The videos made it sound like a total powerhouse.
Gemini is Google's big bet on the future of LLMs. It's designed to be super versatile.
Meaning?
It's what we call a multimodal model, which means it can understand and generate different types of data, text, images, audio, you name it, even video.
Whoa, that's like a Swiss Army knife of AI.
And just like a Swiss Army knife, it comes in different sizes. So you've got Gemini Pro for those really heavy-duty applications, and then there's Gemini Nano, which is designed to work on smartphones and other smaller devices.
You could have this super-powered AI in your pocket. That's wild.
It really opens up a world of possibilities. Imagine an AI that can help you with anything, no matter where you are, knows your preferences, and learns as you go.
But if you can understand all these different types of data, how does prompting even work with something like that?
That's where Gemini's special interface comes in. It's designed to make prompting way easier and more intuitive. You can even choose the tone you want in the AI's responses.
Wait, seriously? So you could ask for a response that's more formal or informal? Maybe even funny or poetic?
Exactly. That's part of what makes prompt engineering so fascinating. It's not just about giving commands, It's about guiding the AI to create something really cool and unique.
That is really cool. I love that. It's like a collaboration between you and the AI.
Absolutely. And with tools like Gemini, that creative partnership is becoming even more powerful.
Now I'm curious, how are developers actually using these LLMs to build real-world applications? One of the videos mentioned something about building an app with Gemini. Did they show how to do it?
They did. It was fascinating. They went through the whole process from coding the backend to designing the user interface. And they even demonstrated how to use Gemini's API, which lets developers integrate Gemini right into their apps.
So it's like giving your app a brain transplant. Amazing. What kind of app were they building?
A pretty simple note-taking app that could understand what you were writing and even suggest related info. So if you're taking notes in a meeting with a client, it could automatically pull up emails from your files, things like that.
Okay, that is cool. Like having a super smart assistant that's always one step ahead.
Right, and that's just one example. The possibilities are endless with LLMs like Gemini.
Okay, so these LLMs are super powerful. But one of the videos made a really important point. It's not enough to just know how to use them. We need to know how to use them well. And they talked a lot about prompt engineering.
Yeah, prompt engineering is essential as these LLMs become more and more powerful. It's not just typing in a question, it's about crafting those instructions that get you the best results.
Like giving someone a detailed map instead of just vague directions.
Exactly. A well-crafted prompt can make a huge difference in the AI's response.
So what are the keys to writing a really good prompt? What do we need to remember when we're talking to these AI systems?
The videos really emphasized being clear and concise. Give the AI enough information to understand you, but don't overload it with details.
So it's like finding that sweet spot, right?
Yes. And also, be mindful of the limitations. LLMs are powerful, but they're not human.
So we can't expect them to just get what we mean, even if it seems obvious to us.
Right. You have to be clear with your instructions, tell it exactly what you want it to do.
The videos also talked about experimenting with different prompt formats. Why is that so important?
Well, different LLMs might respond differently to different kinds of prompts. Some might do better with a conversational tone, while others might need more structure.
Oh, so it's kind of like figuring out someone's communication style. You have to adjust based on who you're talking to.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about figuring out those nuances and tailoring your approach.
And it takes practice, right?
Definitely. The more you experiment and see how the AI reacts, the better you'll become.
Like learning a new language.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more fluent you'll become.
Well, we've talked a lot about prompt engineering, but I'm also curious about how all this applies to software development. One of the videos mentioned GitHub Copilot, which sounded like a dream come true for programmers.
Oh, GitHub Copilot is truly game-changing. It's like having an AI partner who can help you write code.
Oh, wait, it actually writes code for you.
Pretty much. It's powered by LLMs that have been trained on massive amounts of code. So they know how to write in different programming languages and can help you write better, faster code.
So it's like having an AI mentor guiding you.
Yeah, exactly. It can help you find the right functions, suggest completions, even spot potential bugs.
That sounds like a huge time saver.
Hmm.
But does that mean human programmers will be out of a job soon?
The video made it clear that Copilot is a tool, not a replacement. It's designed to enhance their abilities, not replace them.
So it's more about collaboration.
Right. It can handle those tedious parts of coding so developers can focus on the more creative, strategic work.
Makes sense. But if it's writing code, how do we ensure it's high quality and secure?
It's important to remember that Copilot is still just a tool. Human developers need to review that code, test it thoroughly, and make sure it meets the standards.
Got it. So not a magic bullet, but definitely a valuable asset.
Exactly. Using AI to enhance human capabilities. And tools like Copilot show just how powerful that can be.
We've talked a lot about LLMs and how they can generate text, images, code, even video. But one video also mentioned retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. What's that all about?
RAG combines those powerful LLMs with reliable external knowledge sources.
So it's not just relying on the LLM's own knowledge base.
Right. With RAG, when you ask a question, the LLM first goes out and searches through a huge database of information, like Wikipedia, research papers, even company documents.
So it's doing its research, making sure the info is accurate, smart.
Exactly. And that helps to address those hallucinations we were talking about earlier where LLMs can make things up.
Right, that makes sense. It's like the AI has its own built-in fact checker.
Exactly. But how does it search through all that information? Well, that's where those embeddings we discussed earlier come in. Each document gets turned into an embedding that represents its meaning.
Like a fingerprint for each document.
And when you ask a question, your question also gets turned into an embedding. Then the system compares your question embedding to all the document embeddings, looking for the best matches.
So it's finding those documents that are most relevant to your question.
Precisely. And once it finds those documents, the LLM uses that info to create its response.
Wow, this whole process is amazing. It's like combining the creative power of LLMs with a massive knowledge base.
And the possibilities are exciting. Imagine chatbots that can access up-to-date info, personalized learning, even AI research assistants.
RG sounds like a game changer.
It definitely is. And as this technology keeps evolving, we'll likely see even more amazing applications.
We've covered a lot of ground today, exploring some really cutting-edge AI tools and techniques. But our journey isn't over yet.
Right. In the next part of our deep dive, we'll step back and look at the bigger picture. We'll discuss some of the challenges and limitations of generative AI, as well as the ethical considerations that we need to think about.
Sounds like an important conversation. So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll wrap it all up and talk about what the future holds for generative AI. Welcome back to the final part of our generative AI deep dive. It's been an incredible journey, but I think it's important to step back now and look at the bigger picture. Beyond all the amazing possibilities.
It's like we've been exploring this incredible new world, and now it's time to reflect on what we've seen and think about what it all means.
Exactly. Because as cool as all this AI stuff is, we can't ignore the potential downsides. One video talked about LLMs making things up, like hallucinating information. That's a bit unnerving.
Yeah, it is a concern. LLMs can sound so convincing, even when they're generating totally false information.
It's like they're telling a really good story, but it's completely made up. So how do we even know what to believe when AI starts blurring the lines between fact and fiction?
That's one of the big challenges we face with this technology. We need to be aware of those limitations and, not believe everything at face value. Critical thinking is going to be more important than ever.
It's like anything else on the internet. You can't just blindly trust everything you read. We need to fact check and do our own research. But even if we do that, isn't there a risk that people will use this technology for bad stuff? I mean, think about the potential for fake news and spreading misinformation.
It's a valid concern. Researchers are working on making LLMs more reliable and less prone to generating false information, which is good.
One of the videos talked about retrieval augmented generation, or RA. Could that be a way to address this?
RAG is definitely a step in the right direction. As we talked about before, it combines LLMs with access to external knowledge sources, so it's more grounded in facts and less likely to just make things up.
Okay, so RAG might help with accuracy, but what about bias? If these AI systems are trained on data that's already biased, won't their output just reflect those same biases?
That's a crucial point. Bias in AI is a serious concern. We need to address it at every level, from data collection to how we actually train the models.
Because if AI starts making decisions based on biased data, well, that could have serious real-world consequences in areas like hiring, loans, even criminal justice.
Absolutely. It's so important to make sure that the data used to train these models is diverse and representative. And, we need to develop ways to detect and mitigate bias in AI systems.
So it sounds like we have a lot of work to do to make sure this technology is used ethically and responsibly.
We do, but it's important work. The AI community is taking this very seriously.
That's good to hear. But, sometimes technology moves so fast. Are we at risk of AI getting out of control?
Those concerns are understandable. AI is powerful and we need to be aware of the risks. But it's also important to remember that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It depends on us, how we choose to develop and use it.
True. It's not about being afraid of AI. It's about being responsible and making sure it aligns with our values. There's a lot to think about.
There is, but these are essential conversations. The future of AI really depends on how we navigate these issues and make sure this technology benefits all of us.
So what can we do as individuals to make sure AI is used for good? It feels like such a big issue. What can one person even do?
We can do a few things. First, stay informed about the latest AI developments and those ethical questions.
Knowledge is power. The more we understand, the better choices we can make.
Exactly. We can also support organizations working to promote responsible AI. And probably most importantly, we can talk about these issues with our friends, families, get those conversations going.
So it's about being informed, supporting good initiatives, and starting those conversations.
Yeah, the more we talk about it, the better chance we have of making sure AI is used to benefit everyone.
Well, this has been an amazing journey exploring the world of generative AI.
It has. We've seen how it's pushing the boundaries of what's possible, with everything from creating art to writing code.
But as we've learned, it's not just about the tech itself. It's about how we use it and what impact it has on our lives and society as a whole.
Absolutely. And as we move forward, it's essential to approach AI with both a sense of excitement and a healthy dose of caution.
It's a really exciting time to be witnessing this tech revolution firsthand. And it's up to all of us to make sure we're shaping the future of AI in a positive way.
So keep learning, keep exploring, keep those questions coming. The world of AI is constantly changing, and the more we engage with it, the better we'll be able to use it for good.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into generative AI. We hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot. Until next time, keep exploring the world of AI.